right, I guess we have a little bit of rain outside, but we'll go ahead and get started. I think we're after 7:30 now, so we'll just start in easy with a few songs and bring in Shabbat. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Sorry, everyone. I think I'm still moving around my stand a little bit, getting set up. So I think I'm gonna try to move it over here. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please turn to page 13. We're going to start off with Shalom Aleichem. I'm going to continue to play the violin, but you all please sing with me as we bring in Shabbat with Shalom Aleichem. Page 13. Shabbat Shalom again, everyone. Please turn to page 21 for L'Chadodi. And we'll do the first, second, and last verses. On the last verse, please stand up and face east so we can greet our Shabbat bride. Page 21, everyone. L'Chadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. L'Chadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zakur dibur echad, Hishme'anu el chamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shemo teferet v'tila. L'Chadodi likra hakala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. L'Chadodi likra hakala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zakur dibur echad, Hishme'anu el chamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shemo teferet v'tila. L'Chadodi likra hakala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. L'Chadodi likra hakala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, Ki mukor chabracha, Merosh mekedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh mashvata v'hila. L'Chadodi likra hakala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. L'Chadodi likra hakala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Please rise, face east. Bo'i v'shalom ateret bala, Gam v'simcha uv'shola, Toch emunei am segula. Bo'i chala, bo'i chala. L'Chadodi likra hakala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. L'Chadodi likra hakala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Please be seated and turn to page 24. Please read responsively with me on page 24. Adonai is sovereign, crowned with splendor. Adonai reigns, robed in strength. You set the earth on a sure foundation. You created a world that stands firm. Your kingdom stands from earliest time. You are eternal. The rivers may rise and rage. The waters may pound and pulsate. The floods may swirl with storm. Yet above the crash of the sea and its mighty breakers is Adonai, our God, supreme. Your decrees, Adonai, never fail. Holiness befits your house of Israel. And as we prepare for the mourner's Kaddish, as a congregation, we are saying yortzites tonight for Sam Stein, uncle of Simi Galib, Barbara Gare, daughter of Harriet Gare, Sally Jacoby, sister of Deb Posner. Do we have any other yortzites tonight that we are commemorating? Any other yortzites tonight? Okay. If you are commemorating a yortzeit, please stand. Iyet Gedal, Yekedash, Shemei Rabbah. Berma Divra Hirute, Viome Malchute. B'chaychon, Uviomechon, Evaviyedech Chol Bet Yisrael. Bagala, Vizman Kari, Vimru. Amen. Yehe Shmei Rabbah, Mevarak, Le'alam, Ome Omaya. Yet Barak, Vishtava, Vidvar, Vidraman, Vitnase, Vitadar, Vitale, Vitalal, Shemirikudisha, Berihu. Leilam Yakob Yerchata, Vishirata, Tushvachata Venechemata, Damiran, Birma, Vimru. Amen. Yehi Shalom Rabba Min Shamayim. V'haim Aleinu v'Yakol Yisrael. Vimru. Amen. Oseh Shalom Vimru Mav. Oyaseh Shalom. Aleinu v'Yakol Yisrael. Vimru. Amen. And remember, we will do a second Warner Scottish later on in the service, as we usually do too, here on Erev Shabbat. So we're now moving over to page 28 for the Baruch Hu. Please stand. Baruch Hu et Adonai Havorah. Adonai Havorah le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Havorah le'olam va'ed. And in the English, praised are you, Adonai our God, who rules the universe. Your word bringing the evening dusk. You open with wisdom the gates of dawn. Design the day with wondrous skill. Set out the succession of seasons and arrange the stars in the sky according to your will. Adonai Tzvaot, you create day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness away from light. Eternal God, your sovereignty shall forever embrace us. Praised are you, Adonai, for each evening's dusk. And please move over to page 29 and join me with Avat Olam. Avat Olam Bet Yisrael Amhavta Torah mitzvot tzukim mishpatim Otanu limaharetha Al ken Adonai Eloheinu B'shosh beinu uvkumenu Nasiya bahukecha V'nisma b'divrei Toratecha Uv'mitzvotecha Le'olam va'ed Ki hem yayenu Ve'orei yameinu Uvahem neged Yomam v'layla Ve'avata al tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael. So tonight I just have a few excerpts that I looked up regarding education that I wanted to bring tonight. And what I found was some commentary on the, sorry, I'm still working with my glasses. I did go to the eye doctor. I got a new prescription, but unfortunately I haven't gone to get the glasses for the new prescription yet. So we're still working with this. One day I will come with a new pair of glasses. So at any rate, I brought in a little bit of commentary on the history of Jewish education. And in the story that I found, and in the history that I found, basically talked about Jewish education in terms of from birth to age 10, and then what has typically happened from 10 to 15, and then after that. And from birth to age 10, I think we'll recognize most of this in some of our experience, at least in part. And this is to become a literate Jew. And basically, I'm just going to synopsize this a little bit, but basically during this time, from birth to age 10, people get some of our basic stories of Jewish heritage. They get some of the basic prayers we learn. We learn some of these things in our homes, and sometimes we learn some of these things going to a class once a week, or depending. But back in history, it started off similar to what we probably all experience: basic stories, basic prayers, and then eventually inclusion in our Jewish rituals. our Passover Seders and what have you, and then learning to read a little bit of Hebrew. All of these things sound familiar to us. So the history is similar to what we have a little bit today. And then, depending on your family or your rituals, you might be sent off to school then to be more immersed, or perhaps you wouldn't. But then starting from about age 10 to 15, this is where it gets interesting. And this is then what it means to sort of cross the threshold and be more of a knowledgeable Jew, not just have a little bit of literal knowledge and beginning knowledge, but you start studying the Mishnah, which is our Jewish legal theory. And so there's some really interesting things there that people learn when they start studying the Mishnah, and especially in history, like you need to know what to do if your ox gores somebody else's ox, or walks through the market and your ox smashes his tail on some pottery, and then what happens, and what do you do about this? So I'm thinking, well, okay, I don't usually walk through the mall up here with a set of oxen, but I can certainly think, perhaps I bring my dog somewhere, maybe my dog's tail hits something, maybe I accidentally hit something. What do I do about these things? And so the Mishnah has some of these answers for us, and then debates on these things. And then you need to know what to do if you find a lost object, and how to determine whether it was placed there purposely or just dropped carelessly, whether the owner will be able to identify it, whether the owner might still be looking for it or has already given up on it. And so the Mishnah has commentary on all of this, in which case if they've given up on it, then it might be yours, and how to tell whether the guy that might be claiming it is telling the truth about it being his when somebody comes to claim it. So it's interesting that this is commentary that our rituals and our stories and our Jewish legal theory will tell us, and that children start learning between 10 and 15. And I find all these things very fascinating, and of course we can apply them to life today. And I didn't look up the answers about what to do if my ox gores another ox, or if my ox's tail happens to drop a piece of pottery. And so I am actually interested in these things, and to apply that as Jewish knowledge. So some of you may know those answers. You may be more learned than I am. But this is what it means to be a knowledgeable Jew, to have this type of information. Do we know what's in the Mishnah? Do we understand those things? And then after you are a knowledgeable Jew, you are still not considered an educated Jew. So we can be knowledgeable of the Mishnah. We can understand all of our Jewish rituals. We can understand how to read Hebrew. We can understand all of these things. But what students had to do in order to then become what would be considered educated, because there are so many dissident types of opinions really on everything in Jewish life, and we have to learn that we have dissident opinions, is that when students of the sages gathered to discuss the reasoning of the Mishnah and engaged in debate, the important thing is that you're there, right? So someone becoming educated becomes exposed to people discussing and debating and arguing. And even if you did not even contribute to the argument or the discussion, but you followed along, you learned how things were being reasoned, and how to argue a point, and how these sages took these points apart and put them back together again, so that they could come to a consensus. And just being a part of that experience, learning about how to debate, how to have this dialogue, this then helps you cross the threshold into becoming an educated Jew. And so all three of these things are important. And we will talk about the three main takeaways from this when we pause again later in the service to that. But for now, let's go ahead and turn to page 30. I can get to page 30 here. Okay. And we will do the Shema together. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבניך, ושינתם לבניך ודברת בם, ושבתך בדבתך, ובלבתך בדרך, וקשרבך ובקמך, וקשרתם לעוד על ידיך, והיו לתודפות בין עיניך. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words which I command you this day shall take to your heart. Teach them diligently to your children, and recite them at home and away night and day. Bind them as a sign upon your hand, and as a reminder above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes and upon your gates. Please read silently through page 31. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Please turn to page 32 and join me in singing Mi Chamoka. Mi Chamoka B'elem Adonai, Mi Chamoka Nedar B'Kodesh, Nora Tehilot Osefele. Malchutach ra'u v'necha, bokei ayam lifnei, Moshe zeli anu v'yamru, Adonai yimlo le'olam v'hed. V'ne'emar kifal Adonai et Yaakov, u'chalok miyach chazak mimenu, Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Please turn to page 33. On page 33, we have the Hashkivenu prayer. And this is a prayer for comfort and protection, asking God to watch over us and guard us as we sleep. So we'll sing the first few lines of the Hashkivenu prayer, and then we will read together in the English afterwards on the top of page 33. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamidenu makenu l'chaim. Ufros alenu sukat shlomecha, ufros alenu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praised are you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Please turn to page 34 and join me in Vishamru. Some people stand, some people sit. Do whatever is your custom to do so. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. כי שת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. Please join me in the Hatzi Kaddish, also right below this. Yetkadav yekadash meraba, berma devrach erotev yamek mahutze, behayehon uvyomehon, uvav yedecho bet Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kavri v'imru, amen. Yesh meraba mevorach, le'amo me'omaya, yitbarak, yitbarak, v'ishtabak, v'drar, v'draman, v'naseh, Vitadar, vitale, vitalal, shemeri kudesha brihu, lelo mirkol virchata v'shirata, tus bechata v'nechemata, damilran v'elma, v'imru, amen. So, going back to talking a little bit about the education, these are the three takeaways from what we read and talked about earlier. Number one, the Jewish education is about life on earth. All of it. Some think a religious education is about God, heaven, and getting to heaven. Sure, we need to provide soul food for our kids. There's got to be something transcendent and mysterious in your life. But the meat and potatoes of Jewish education is not about getting to heaven. It's about getting heaven down to earth. So the Jewish education we provide our kids should do the same. And quite frankly, the Jewish education that we also provide ourselves. Many of us are kids also. We are always seeking education continuously throughout our life. And this should do the same. We want every Jewish kid to learn to be a mensch, to do business with integrity, and find God in all of his or her daily affairs. So the second takeaway from what we talked about earlier is that Jewish education is time transcendent, right? So even though we were maybe talking about the oxen before, we can easily analogize this to our present and everything. So time is to Jewish education what geography is to others. It's all there, all at once. And you have to know the roadways that connect the dots. When you learn Torah, Abraham, Sarah, Moses, Deborah, David, the Temple of Jerusalem, Esther, Hillel, Akiva, Maimonides, the Arisol, the Baal Shem Tov, and you are all alive together in the same space together, All of these people and concepts are alive together. So we want our kids to have the same sense, not of history, but that this is still the same story today, of where they fit in the grand story and where they're supposed to take it. Because it's just all moving in the same direction toward a world as its creator meant it to be. And the last and third point, and I think this is really, really pertinent for today. It's very pertinent in my life. It's pertinent in my work life. It's pertinent in my personal life. The third takeaway, and this is what we ended talking about earlier, is that Jewish education is about being part of the discussion. Even if you know every halacha in the code of Jewish law, all of Jewish history, and are fluent in Hebrew, Aramaic, Ladino, Yiddish, and Judeo-Arabic, you are an ignoramus until you can become part of the discussion. So the biggest thing is to be part of the discussion, and when we're arguing and when we're going back and forth, this is who we are. This is Jewish, and this is what it means to be educated. Sure, you need knowledge to join the discussion, right? If you don't have knowledge, how can you join the discussion? But more than that, you need to sit in a place where that knowledge is being slammed back and forth in a high-speed hockey game to really understand, become an educated person, and be able to say, aha, okay, I understand, I know how to join in this discussion. And while there are many places we can do this in different ways, the most traditional Jewish place to do this is the place that we call a yeshiva. And every Jew, no matter what age, should have an opportunity to spend at least a few months in a yeshiva. And I'm reading here from a sheet that I will reference from the Chabad website. But I have not been to a yeshiva to see this. I know many people have, and to be involved in this. And so I guess I am not yet considered an educated Jew in this way. But I know I try to be as a part of every discussion that I can be a part of in life, both in the secular world and in the Jewish world. I think it's very, very important to put your ideas on the table. And as long as your ideas on the table and your ideas are being heard and your voice is a part of the discussion, then you are participating in our educated Jewish traditions. And every Jew needs to be an educated Jew. So become a part of the discussion. Whatever discussion is in front of you, become a part of it. Please turn to page 35 while you ponder those thoughts. And please stand. We have the Amidah, which we'll start together at the top of page 35, and then you will continue to read silently through page 38 after we've finished reading together. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, and God of our ancestors, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, great, mighty, awesome, exalted God, who bestows loving kindness, creator of all. You remember the pious deeds of our ancestors and will send a redeemer to their children's children because of your loving nature. Please continue reading through page 38 or say the prayers that are in your heart. When you are finished, you may be seated, but please do not rush your prayers. At some point, you may hear some music as you are finishing. Please do not feel you need to rush at that time. There's plenty of time for your prayers and thoughts. Shalom Aleinu, Yako Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu, Yako Yisrael. Please turn to the back cover as we begin our Mishabarak, our prayer for the sick. I'll read the first part, and then we will stop in the middle to read names of those who we are saying prayers for. Mishabarak avotenu mikor habracha limotzenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Tonight we are saying prayers for recovery for Barbara Allman, Steve Asheim, Mona Bakov, Sawyer Bartel, Teresa Calla, Crucio Simonio, Emilia Cooley, Audrey Dash, Gordon Feinberg, Pearl Friedman, Renee Ginn, Carla Gonzalez, Jeffrey Greenwald, Eve Hamburger, Rita Kendall, Barbara Klein, Keith Langstrom, Steve Lifshin, Robert Maya, Sandy Minkin, Morris Rashi, Ron Rosenberg, Dom Salfi, Rob Seltzer, Harleen Schreck, Leslie Schulsinger, Daniel Siegel, Amanda Silverstein, Saul Stein, Andrea Diane Sylvester, Bill Thompson, Peter Teitelbaum, Nancy Town, Stephen Waltzer, Albert Warman, Herb Weissman, Suzette Weissman, Katharina Williams, Liebel ben Margolit, Liebe Shlomit Rachel bat Margolit, Fivel Shlomo ben Devorah, Yisrael ben Ethel, Avraham ben Binyamin, Kevin Baker, Nicole Segura, Mike Segura, Claudia Genovese Martinez, and all of the people suffering in Ukraine. Are there any other names to add to the Mishaveric list for healing? And please continue with me. Mishaveric imotzenu mekor habracha leavotzenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Please turn to page 48. Where we'll do Kaddish Shalem. Yet Gedal Yekedash Rabba. Vilma divrach irtev mek mochute b'chai honev yom echon dekayet kol bet Yisrael bagalav izman karivim aru. Amen. Yesh merava mevorak le'alam omeomaya yitzvorak yibarak v'shtavak v'trar v'draman v'naseh v'tadar v'taleh v'talal shamed kudusha Brihu le'lo mirkol birchata v'shirata tushbchata v'nechemata damiram be'ama v'imaru. Amen. Tidgabal slotchon uvachon dachol Yisrael kodam uvchon devishmayim v'emaru. Amen. Yehesh lama rava mishamayim v'haim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'emaru. Amen. Oseh shalom imrumab uyaseh shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'emaru. Amen. Please turn to page 49 for Kiddush. Do we have any wine back there to pour for people? Okay. And I have my wine right here. So please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Elokeinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Elokeinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu v'mitzvato v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'avuv ratzon hinkelanu zikaron lamaseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehillah Lemekra Kodesh Zecher Litziat Mitzrayim Kivanu Vecharta Leotanu Kidashta Mikol Amim V'Shabbat Kodsha V'Havuv Rachatzon Hinkaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mikadesh HaShabbat. Amen. And now I have to drink the wine. Hold on just one moment, please. And everybody else too. L'chaim. Okay. Please turn to page 395. On page 395, we have the Israeli national anthem, and please join me in the English, and then I will play Hativka on the violin, and if you know the song, I would hope you would sing at that time. As long as the heart of the Jew beats, and as long as the eyes of the Jew look eastward, then our 2,000-year hope is not lost, to be a free nation in Zion, in Jerusalem. And this is Hatikva, the Israeli national anthem, and I'll play that on the violin, followed by one more song. And this next one is an Israeli kibbutz song. We have come to Israel, planted and seeded the land, but not yet harvested. Artza Aleinu, we have come to the land. And please turn to page 51 and stand for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabei el Adon hakol, latit gedula yotze reshit, shelo asanu kigoherat sod velo samanu kamishpachot hadama, shelo sam hilkenu kahem vegohor aleinu kecho hamonam v'naknu korim u'mishtakavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlakim akadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim v'yosei la'aretz u'mashav yakaro b'shamayim imal u'shlinat huzo igove meromim hu Eloheinu ein od emet malkeinu efes ulato ככתוב בתורתו, ויראת יום והשבות אל לבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתקן עוד. על כן נקבל ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוא לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והי אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, O Shema, O Shema, O Shema Echad. And please, if you are in mourning, please remain standing. We turn to page 52 for our second Mourner's Kaddish. And just in case some of you joined us late and we're not here, we'll go ahead and repeat the names of those whom we are seeing Kaddish for as a congregation again. Sam Stein, uncle of Simi Golub. Barbara Gare, daughter of Harriet Gare. Sally Jacoby, sister of Deb Posner. And if there are any other names here or those of you who are at home, please speak them now and stand for the Mourner's Kaddish if you are in mourning. Yit Gadal, Yit Gadash, Shemei Rabbah. Berama divrach Yerotei v'yamech machutei. B'chayhon v'yomechon v'avyedechol bet Yisrael. Bagala v'izman kali v'imlu amin. Yehesh merabba mevrach le'olom u'le'omaya. Yitbarach v'ishtarach v'yitva'ar v'yitraman v'yitmaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudasha b'rechu. Le'lom yirkov yachata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechimata. Damiran v'irma v'imru amin. Yehesh lama rabba min shemayim. B'haim aleno v'yoko Yisrael v'imru amin. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleno v'yoko Yisrael v'imru amen. And we'll move the announcements to the end, which we'll get to soon. But before we move on, I want to read one more thing about education. And this was something that I found and read, I don't know, maybe about a year or two ago when I led a Zoom service. But I went back over it this time. I said, this is just one of my favorite things. And we talked all about how to be how to be an educated Jew earlier. But this is the prayer of an uneducated man. The Talmud states that it is permissible to pray in any language that you can understand. However, traditional Judaism has always stressed the importance of praying in Hebrew. A traditional Hasidic story speaks glowingly of the prayer of an uneducated Jew who wanted to pray but did not speak Hebrew. The man began to recite the only Hebrew he knew, the Aleph Bet. He recited it over and over again until a rabbi asked what he was doing. The man told the rabbi, "The Holy One, blessed is He, knows what is in my heart. I will give him the letters, and he can put the words together." I love that story. Isn't that a nice story? I guess there were several messages I had talked about before that I got out of the story, but I think we all have our own message that we get out of that story, and that one speaks especially to me because my education as a Jew has been really sort of a slow lifetime. It's not been something where I had all of this education as a child. I've lived a lot of my life in the secular world and had a very strong Jewish identity within that, but not had all of the traditional Jewish education. And so I'm always learning and always picking up things, and probably am not always as knowledgeable as some people. But so that really has special meaning to me. That whatever we can just give God the letters, and He can put them together because He knows what's in our heart. So we will do a concluding song, and I think let's go ahead and do Adon Olam, and then after that we'll have some announcements. So please turn to page 54. I always like the one that echoes. So let's do the one that echoes, and please help me with some echoing, right? So when I say Adon Olam, like you say Adon Olam, right? So from wherever you are, if you're out there at home and you're watching on the streaming, or if you're in here in front of me, so let's hear that echo. So Adon Olam, Sher Malah, B'terem Kol, Yetzir Nivra, Et Nasa, V'esakol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'harei Kilot HaKol, Levado Yemlo Nara Adon Olam, V'hu Haya, V'hu Hoveh, V'hu Yeh V'tifara Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Sher Malah, B'terem Kol, Yetzir Nivra, Et Nasa, V'esakol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'hu Echad V'ein Sheni, L'hamshilo L'chabira Adon Olam, V'li Reshit, V'li Tachlid, V'lo Ha'oz V'ha'misra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Sher Malah, B'terem Kol, Yetzir Nivra, Et Nasa, V'esakol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'hu Echad V'ein Sheni, L'hamshilo L'chabira Adon Olam, V'li Reshit, V'li Tachlid, V'lo Ha'oz V'ha'misra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Sher Malah, B'terem Kol, Yetzir Nivra, Et Nasa, V'esakol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'hu Eli, V'haigo Eli, V'sor Hebli V'yitzara Adon Olam, V'hu Nisi Umanos Li, Manat Kosi V'yom Ekra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Sher Malah, B'terem Kol, Yetzir Nivra, Et Nasa, V'esakol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, B'yado Avkid Ruchi, V'etisham V'ya'era Adon Olam, V'im Ruchi, Gaviyatzi, Adon Ali V'lo Ira Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Sher Malah, B'terem Kol, Yetzir Nivra, Et Nasa, V'esakol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And we're going to have some announcements now, and then after that, you can say a blessing over the challah and all sorts of things. But good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom, and here are our wonderful announcements.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, everyone. Lynn, thank you so much for leading us to services. Your beautiful violin playing and teaching us some things about Jewish education. Please join us again tomorrow morning. Services begin at 9:30 a.m. here at the church. This coming Sunday, a group of us are meeting at the storage units that the synagogue rents. We have 2 of them. We're trying to reduce them in size. So if you can, please join us at 11 a.m. this coming Sunday. And then this coming Monday evening, the 22nd at 7:30 p.m., we have a very important congregational meeting. It requires a vote, so please plan to attend. It's by Zoom and phone only. And then you have 10 more days in order to get your names, your loved ones, in the book of remembrance for the holidays. So if you haven't sent in your form yet, please go ahead and do that. And we have mahjong every Wednesday from 1 to 3, and we have movie chat and book club every Thursday starting at 3 p.m. And let's not forget that we have our summer promotion going on for membership. It's a really good promotion. It gives you a chance to get high holiday tickets and membership for a year. So if you're joining us online, or if you know somebody who's not affiliated, please give them the information. Shabbat Shalom.